In a previous episode, we talked about good guys that might actually not be that good. And that got me thinking about their opposite. Bad guys that may actually be good or might have had a point. I'm CRollur.
I'm Willy.
And with us today is my good friend and villain enthusiast,
Alejandro. You can call me Alex, though.
And Willy's son,
Noah.
Welcome to CRollur and Willy podcast. Now, when I started thinking about this this topic, I initially just the first thing I thought of was Megamind, because he's literally the villain that turns good, and his only reason for being a villain was because the good guy existed. And he's literally just been treated like crap, and he became the villain out of default because the hero was basically his nemesis all the way through, like whatever schooling they went through and his entire life.
I feel like you picked this topic just for me.
Maybe. But I feel like that's just a little too on the nose for me, so I came up with some other ones. Did you come up with any?
Yeah, I was looking up a few.
And what did you come up with?
Well, I was thinking above, probably a popular one, Magneto from X-Men.
Magneto. Typically set up to be an antagonist in the X-Men, but when you think about it, all he really wanted was for like the equal treatment of mutants. Pretty much the same thing Xavier was fighting for, just he did it in a different way. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he knew what humanity was capable of, like hatred and stuff like that. And I think that contributed to the way he actually acted, was the fact that he saw what humanity was capable of.
You think the Avengers Civil War kind of copied off the X-Men storyline?
Not entirely. Like, I feel like the whole thing with Avengers Civil War was that the government wanted to control superheroes so they didn't become supervillains.
Yeah, but they were fighting each other, though, right?
Yeah, because some people thought the government was a good idea.
That's what the X-Men, too. Some of them believe that,
I mean, yes, it's a common theme that there's two sides.
So, in the comic books, what came out first? Like, the Avengers fighting each other or the X-Men?
Which came what?
What came first, like, with the comic books? Like, the X-Men fighting, Magneto's X-Men or mutants, or was Avengers fighting themselves?
I'm not entirely certain. I know movie-wise, the X-Men came first, but in the comics, I am not sure.
I don't know. What do you say, Alex?
I'm not sure either, but in my opinion, probably X-Men came first because the Avengers was just a collection of all of them. So, you can't have a group unless you have them already existed previously. So that's just...
I just wanted to put it in there because the X-Men is basically like a civil war. You got one group, Magneto's group versus, Professor Xavier's group. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, they're just two groups with the same goal, which is different ways of trying to achieve it, Being, the so-called villain, I say they're just a product of their environment. I wouldn't call them villains per se.
But why they consider Magneto a villain, though?
Probably because he kills people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the way he goes about it is a bit extremist, but I mean, time and time again, humanity kind of proved that they wanted to kill the mutants because they saw them as a threat.
Yeah, but they wanted to, take out the freaking superheroes too, because they're like, a threat too.
Speaking of superheroes, in The Incredibles.
Oh, you keep pointing out these little kid cartoon movies that I watch.
Well, I mean, Syndrome was literally, he wanted to be a superhero, but because he didn't have any superpowers, they rejected him.
That was a copycat of that Superman villain. What's his name? What's his name? The bald guy, Lex Luthor, or whatever.
Yeah, some people actually think that he was not that bad, although I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. So, but Syndrome, he basically just wanted to be a superhero and he got rejected. So he started making superheroes with the philosophy that if everybody's super, nobody's super.
I mean, I could see it, Mr. Incredible was his childhood hero. All he wanted to do was help him. And all he did was get rejected and tossed it aside, got told to go home. So yeah, Syndrome is definitely, he's not a bad guy. He's just been rejected his whole life.
That reminds me of that villain from Megamind. That guy that they gave him powers and he used it irresponsibly. And then he ended up becoming a villain.
I feel like that guy was given a chance to be good and turn out evil, Whereas Megamind was never given a chance to be good. Like the person
He grew up being evil, living in a
grew up
prison.
being evil because the only thing he ever knew was the only thing he ever knew growing up was being the lesser between the two. He was always the second, always.
Was Megamind a bad guy? Was he a good guy?
I don't think he was a bad guy. Because the boy, the guy that's his rival, he, like, when he was gonna go off the planet, he was like a mean person to him. So.
What's that guy's name? The superhero's name? Was it? Let's just call him Brad Pitt. All right, Brad Pitt.
All right,
yeah, we'll just call him Brad Pitt. Then we'll call Megamind Will Ferrell. So make it a little bit easy.
Yeah, I just feel like all these so-called bad guys are just getting a bad rap. You see the story of the good guy all the time, and you see why they're the bad guy in the story is the reason why they're good. But what made these guys bad? Like I want to hear their side of the story. Like in that movie Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, they're having that convention, and they're all like, just because we're bad guys doesn't mean we're a bad guy.
I was actually trying to find that quote, could not figure out what movie it came from.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But to answer your question, the hero from Megamind is Metro Man.
Oh,
Metro Man. Okay, gotcha. He's just like the is it Pixar or Disney movie?
I think it was Pixar.
So he's like the Pixar Superman, and Megamind's like the Lex Luthor, right? But they kind of like flip-flopped it where, Megamind was a good guy, then the other guy, he's still a good guy, but he just didn't want to do it anymore.
It's a DreamWorks animation.
Oh, DreamWorks. Oh, yeah.
I think Megamind is a little underrated, though, because it came out along with some other movies, and it got overshadowed by those movies.
I think in The Incredibles 2, I've never seen the second one, but I think there's the villain in that's supposed to be, misunderstood as well.
I've seen it, but I just don't remember the movie.
What other villains do you think get a bad rap?
Riddler.
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
He places bombs across the city.
Yeah, but he does it the good way by giving clues of where they're at, so it gives Batman a chance to find them and deactivate them before they go off.
Because he thinks he's like the smartest guy.
All he's trying to do is trying to make Batman smarter, and that's why he gives these riddles.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean...
Me either.
You disagree with that?
Yeah.
Why?
I feel like the Riddler is just toying with Batman more than helping him.
Yeah.
Well, joke's on Riddler, because all he's doing is making Batman smarter.
I mean, that is a possibility.
I mean, Batman's already fucking smart, but he's probably like, I'm not good with riddles, but I'm going to get good with it because of the Riddler.
I mean, it's a lot of guff to call yourselves the world's greatest detective. I mean, where does he get off?
Right.
Probably in his mansion.
The Batcave?
Watch, we're going to find out like decades from now that the actual bad guy is probably like his butler Alfred or something. Some bullshit.
That would be kind of ironic.
Well, as a villain enthusiast, as, CRollur over here put it.
You're the one that said you like bad guys.
Whoa. We don't like the B word, buddy. Okay? We don't like that B word. But the one that comes to mind, it's pretty well known now because of the movies and the TV shows. But, Johnny Lawrence from The Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, like, poor guy. Like, he was just minding his own business, having the summer of his life. Some guy comes up, Ralph Macchio, comes up out of nowhere, hitting on his girl, keeps giving him cheap shots, has an old guy beat him up. Like, he's just trying to live his life, He's just trying to be the greatest karate person out there. His sensei was a dick for sure, but like, come on now.
In this case, I think the bad guy he's painted as the bad guy, but I feel like his sensei was the real bad guy in this situation.
Yeah, but you just look at the movie, and then even at the end of the tournament, illegal kick to the face. Come on now, like. This is a world championship tournament. Where were the refs in this? Like,
well, realistically, nowadays you have to wear a helmet and you can't kick each other in the head.
Yeah, I'm just saying, the poor guy. And if you watch Cobra Kai, the first episode, you just see where that moment just ruined his whole life. Like, he became an alcoholic. He's sitting at home. His kid don't want nothing to do with him now. Like ever since that moment, ever since Daniel LaRusso came into his life, he ruined it.
I kind of feel like that's a bit extreme, though, to blame him for all that because he still could have turned his life around.
But
He
how?
did.
Everybody hated him. He was all he was a popular guy, and then he made everyone hated him then.
Right. I mean, was Ben Stiller the bad guy in Dodgeball? I mean, he was a douche, but he just wanted people to get in shape.
I'm just saying, Johnny, I got you.
So what other like villains or not villains, misunderstood, villains out there that you know about?
I saw another one. You ever see the movie Carrie?
I watched clips of it.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going on this one.
Yeah, I mean, she was a poor teenage girl who just wanted to go to prom, being picked on her whole life.
This is
you
an
know?
She
older
was
movie.
absolutely
Yeah, that was an older movie,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? And then
They
she
remade
met
it,
a boyfriend or whatever.
As
and
I
then-
said, they remade
okay.
the movie, but the original one, I believe, was in '76.
Yeah. I mean, did she go on a killing, rampage? But yeah, but look what
She was bullied, and what triggered her rampage was actually literally not even her fault. They set up a trap for her and dumped shit on her, and
yeah.
it just triggered her.
Sabotage. Indespicable.
Honestly, until I went to do this research, I did not think she was the villain of the movie. I actually thought she was the victim.
Yeah, because her new boyfriend was the bad guy, right? He's the one that made these two guys go out in the woods and shot him, right? Is that the movie?
No, that's the one where like she goes to prom. And then they
Shit! I'm thinking of the movie Heather. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah, like I honestly never thought that she was the bad person in the movie. Like still like until I went to do research, I actually never thought about it that way because I was that adamant she was justified for what she did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she slayed a whole auditorium full of people, but
Yeah, they deserved it. Yeah.
for sure, she pushed her buttons.
If any of you watched The Jungle Book,
Oh my god! I researched this one this morning. You stole it. That freaking tiger or whatever. He's not the bad
sure,
guy. He's just trying to help the animal kingdom. Not being taken over by humans.
yeah, he's trying to protect his environment and animals in it. He actually knows that like humans destroy the jungle with their fire and like they tear down trees and stuff. And
then some little boy in red briefs, comes in.
yeah, he's terrified of this kid because he knows what humanity is capable of. Once again, common theme. But he's also terrified of fire and what people can do with it. So he goes out of his way to make sure the kid doesn't get a hold of fire. And he still does. And
So you're saying like people or like animals like Scar's not a bad person either, or a bad animal because he was trying to stop. He was trying to stop inbreeding with the lions.
Speaking of Scar, like first I want to hit the hyenas. I don't believe the hyenas were actually bad. All they wanted was food. They just had a shitty leader. Because, like, the hyenas were just trying to follow Scar to get food, but Scar was a terrible leader to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did accomplish some things, but in the end, he first of all, he treated them like shit.
Right.
And then he treated all the rest of the animal kingdom like shit as well.
Later on in this episode, I want to talk about another topic about games where you can either become the bad or good guy in the game. If you guys are, wanting to talk about that.
If we get around to it. But I also want to talk about Scar because there is although he's pretty bad in like The Lion King, there's like a different series that it's like supposedly based off of, in which Scar's original name, you learned that it came from, first of all, it came from him trying to fight a beast and getting a scar. And that's why he's now named Scar. But before that, his name was literally Garbage.
Garbage?
He was the underappreciated son, whereas Mufasa was the favorited one.
So it's like Game of Thrones. Like he's like the piece of shit one. They're like, all right, I got you.
He's the jaded brother, He's the ugly-headed, stepchild. Like nobody wanted to pay attention to him because he looked different. He wasn't Mufasa, so no one cared about him.
And actually, this kind of accurate with Lion King because like female lions are more attractive to lions with lighter hair or whatever the color is. Scar had black hair, so he probably didn't attract the female lioness as much as what Mufasa
did not know that.
Yeah, look it up.
Scar's backstory is kind of tragic too. Does it justify what he did? Probably not.
Fun fact for all you guys to watch.
It's definitely, I could definitely see where Scar was coming from though.
Yeah.
His family pretty much treated him like shit, so he eventually got revenge and took the kingdom.
And every Disney movie has some kind of like thing where it's like betrayal and all that stuff. Like, look at Cinderella. Her two evil, what are they, half sisters or stepsisters? They're stepsisters. They weren't bad guys. They were just trying to,
Yeah, they were just trying to find a husband.
I disagree with that.
Me too.
Because although their goal of trying to get a husband could be seen as not bad, the way they treated Cinderella was absolutely horrible.
I agree with Nate.
I mean, she's being smug, walking around. Look how pretty I am. Look how small
exactly.
my feet
She's like,
are.
look how good I can sweep.
Here's the thing: she wasn't like that before she got the dress and the stuff. She was actually basically a slave girl to her stepmother and stepsisters.
Well, she
actually
did all
she did all the cooking and cleaning and dressed in rags. That's why the prince couldn't actually. That's why the prince had a hard time figuring out who she was, even
because he's dumb.
He had to put the slipper on.
If you put a robe on right now, I'm like, I don't know you anymore.
After that night, she went back to her poor rags. Even when the prince saw her, he still had to put the slipper on because he's like, "There's no way this beautiful princess is this girl here."
See, and that's what's wrong with that guy. He's smug.
I agree.
He was smug
with that.
He was smug. All he cared about was what she looked like, and the fact that he couldn't recognize her in a nice, pretty dress without her wearing a nice, pretty dress says a lot about his character
and
her character.
It takes like a high heel to even find out who she is. Like, what the fuck is up with that?
I agree. I agree with that one, but I cannot justify.
I'm going to go around with a tape measure and measure everyone's foot to see, who.
And the stepmom, the dad was so focused on the daughter, he didn't pay attention to the rest of his kids. Even though they were stepkids, they were still his kids. So the way that he treated their family was a result of why the stepmom and the stepsisters treated Cinderella the way she did.
Boom.
I feel it's a little bit different. I feel like it's a simping situation on that one, where he treated the stepmother too good and that allowed them to treat her however they want.
Well, we can agree to disagree then.
You guys play a lot of games, right?
Yeah.
Have you played a game where like you're the hero but you actually might be the bad guy and the bad guy is actually the good guy? Like, think about like games like Fallout 4, right?
Yeah.
At the end of it, wasn't your son the one that was in control of that or something like that?
Think so. There's another game called Infamous where you can actually pick to either be the villain or you can go and be the good guy. You can actually play it both ways, and it's really fun, especially doing the bad guy.
I kind of like that idea of being able to choose.
I mean, it started out with Fable because Fable kind of like really reached out to like if you want to be the good guy or the bad guy in the storyline.
I definitely agree with that, but I don't think there was enough of the story element because regardless of whether you did good things or bad things, most of your good or badness really just reflected on how NPCs treated you and not how the story played out. Because everything you did still had to follow a certain line of progression.
Yeah, but you get different powers, leading into like the darkness.
And if you're good, you get all the powers because you go good and then you go bad and then you go wherever you want.
Yeah, but that takes forever.
No, it doesn't. Just exploit the infinite money glitch.
I mean, like games like Skyrim,
you just donate to the two temples till you can become fully evil or fully good.
It was that easy.
I cheated the system, all right?
So I went around hacking people for no reason, even though I could just donated shit to the temples, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
That took me forever, like hours and hours and hours of gameplay just to even become evil. Well, there's other games too, like besides Fable. Like Fable opened the door, for decision making and stuff like what you want to do. Then Mass Effect, you can do the same. You ever play Mass Effect?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mass Effect, you can either be a good guy or a bad guy. You can treat people like shit. You can either, be a good guy or a bad guy. So, and whatever decision you make in the game will unlock different characters later on.
Now, to a certain extent, you could do that in the Outer Worlds because you can choose different factions and side with either of them, and you could like side with the evil corporation or the rebellion or whatever. So you could choose your own path. You could choose to be whatever you think is evil or good. So,
I mean, what was your guys' favorite game that with decision making, for good and bad?
I gotta say what I mentioned earlier, Infamous. It's a really, really fun game. It's the first and second one.
I never played it, but I wanted to play it. But I don't have the system to play it.
It was excellent.
Personally, for me, it's got to go back to the to Fable, as you were saying.
Oh, Fable was your favorite one? Like Skyrim? Don't count? None of them?
I mean, Skyrim was good, but Fable's the only one I've played through multiple times.
Which Fable did you play? The first, second?
First. I played first and second one, but when the first one I played like with the Lost Chapters DLC. Fable 2 just was not as interesting to me because they introduced guns into it, and I thought that was a little weird. They went with like flintlock rifles or something like that, and
you can't do that.
Like to me, that world exists as a fantasy sword and shield and magic type of setting, and when you introduce guns, it takes away from it.
Yeah, because the reason why I went into this conversation, because there are like a lot of games where you were actually doing the bad guy's job and not realizing, like games like
Mario.
No, we already talked about Mario, but.
Just once again goes back to how the bad guys are being mistreated because they're doing what the good guys want.
Yeah, but I'm just like talking about the the games and stuff. And for example, Dr. Cortez, from Crash Bandicoot, he was a bad guy, but he created a good guy. So how bad can he be? But then he went on a rampage trying to destroy Crash Bandicoot, and Crash. He gave him a hug in one of the scenes. He's like, gave him like a big ass hug, and Dr. Cortez is like, "Get the fuck off me." But with video gaming, Halo, since this guy right here is a genius with it, is the Covenant bad?
I've never played Halo, so I wouldn't know.
Well, Destiny copied it.
Whoa, guy.
The creators are the same for each franchise. I don't know if they necessarily copied it. Some of the armor looks similar. But...
All right, so I want every name of every worker for Halo and every name of everyone from Destiny, and let's see if
it's Bungie. I just don't know if the workers are the same or whatnot.
I mean, they have Master Chief in Destiny.
They do?
Yeah. He's an Easter egg.
What's he doing in there?
He's sleeping. He's dead.
Oh.
So it ties together, huh?
Yeah, it's funny. They say that like you can scan it like in the very first one, and it says, "Oh, this is a powerful guardian," but I tried to res him, and he told me that he wasn't ready to be woken up yet, so I came and find you.
What a lazy ass! He needs to wake his fucking ass up.
Another hero being lazy.
Well, he's been doing
That's
stuff.
That's basically like Captain Marvel showing up last minute too. So
I mean, if you're gonna talk about the Covenant, I feel like they're definitely misguided. They are ultimately the villains of the story because they want to basically activate the rings that will destroy the universe, but they think that they're doing good.
They're like the wildlings, from Game of Thrones, right?
The Arbiter is the one that actually ends up going against their own military and helping Master Chief. So the heretics are the ones that keep pushing the military forward to do something, despite humanity trying to show them the evidence that what they're doing isn't the right thing. I mean, the rings were designed to destroy the universe because of the flood. So they wanted to destroy the flood, and they figured the best way to do it is just to kill everything.
Like another Big Bang thing.
I don't know exactly how it works. I just know it'll destroy everything.
Almost like Thanos a little bit.
Yeah,
taking out half the population.
How do you feel about?
So Thanos is not even a bad guy then.
That's right.
Oh my god! I didn't think about that.
Unfortunately, I have to disagree on this one because although I can see his justification, he's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Wow. Not really. He's just like, you suck.
Why
you
would
suck.
you wipe
You're
out
good. You're good. You suck. All right, I'm gonna get rid of the people that suck.
Why would you wipe out half of living creatures across the universe?
Yeah.
When you could just double all the resources.
Yeah, but where are these resources going to come from? If you keep more and more people keep showing up, you're not going to have enough resources. He was trying to save the world.
This is going right back to Jungle Book.
Okay, let me ask you this. What happens if you have humanity? Right? We're going to multiply.
Right.
And we'll be right back there in like a couple generations.
Then you do it again.
And then
we didn't solve an issue.
And then he has the means to do it. It's like a reset button.
You didn't solve the issue at all.
You push the reset button, it doesn't go away, it's still there. You can push it anytime you want.
Yeah, you just push it every, couple decades.
So we're just gonna eliminate half of everything.
It could have been a lot worse though. He's not like he's taking them and breaking their necks. It's in an instant. They don't feel
Is it like all life or like deer. You know,
Yeah,
like,
and-
oh, we're gonna eliminate deer.
And look
you know?
what he had to do to even achieve that. He had to give up the one thing he loved most to be able to get that last Infinity Stone, so he could do it, make it happen. If anyone's hurting, it's him, because he has to live in a world now where the person he loved most is gone by his own hand.
Don't you think that's a problem? The reason that challenge was set up was to stop somebody from doing something like that.
Maybe it's to understand that if you want something good, you gotta,
Sacrifice something.
yeah, you gotta have to sacrifice.
I still think you could just give more resources. Your reset button thing still works.
No, they're just gonna eat it all, man.
Yeah, I'll just keep hitting the reset button. So I'll be like half, another half, another half, another half. Like, all right, there's only like a quarter left.
Keep doubling. I mean, you could say the same thing on the other side, and if you double resources,
but
you're not killing people.
that is back. We were talking earlier about Lion King. That's inbreeding. Then you got a bunch of people inbreeding. Then
Bunch of guinea pigs. Huh?
yeah, basically,
I mean,
we don't want them.
I still don't think that what he did was justified, especially since he had to sacrifice an innocent person in order to get that last Infinity Stone.
Yes,
It may have been a hard choice for him, but he still had to do something that was unnecessary. You mentioned Cinderella earlier, and it got me thinking about another one, another supposed villain in an old Disney movie from Beauty and the Beast, Gaston. Besides the fact that he's pretty much the alpha douche, I don't think he's as bad as he's made to be.
No, he's a character that pisses people off early in the movie. That's basically what he was used for.
There is the issue of him and Belle
When you grew
because
up,
of like possessiveness.
when you were growing up and you watched that movie, when you seen him pull up in the movie, we were like, "Fuck yeah, I want to be like him when I grow up." No one ever said that.
There is a slight issue with him and Belle, but outside of that, like his main villain arc is trying to take down the Beast. If you think about it from his perspective, though, there is a beast that is basically capturing innocent people and
Yeah,
holding
he's like
them in his
a
castle.
bear Tasmanian devil
I mean,
hog mix, I think it was, right?
somebody from your town gets captured by a beast and gets locked away in his castle. What are you going to do?
I'll fight back.
Would you not try to bust into his castle and save them?
Yeah, I'll fight back.
In his
Kill the
eyes, he's
man.
trying to
Don't
save
let
Well,
me
he did it the
survive.
wrong way. He should have hired, or he probably should have bought a bunch of catapults and wrecked the castle up before,
I mean, he did have a battering ram.
I think
I mean, that don't matter. I would catapult the fuck out of it first, then use the battering ram.
I can shed some light on this
Realistically,
possessiveness.
right?
Look at the time period. People had arranged marriages. People were fixing each other up. But yeah, was she a person? Absolutely. But during that time frame, that's just how it was.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is I know people are going to bring that up, so I figured I'd bring it up first.
That's why I know. I think he just misunderstood. It's just the time frame and where we're at nowadays. Looking back at it, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just trying to get his girl back.
I mean, the Beast was kind of the bad guy because he was kind of forcing someone to, do stuff, so he can get uncursed.
He kidnapped
Can we rename that
someone
movie
to
Stockholm
stop
Syndrome? The
his
movie
curse. So
The what?
Stockholm Syndrome, the movie.
If we're talking about, if we're gonna keep going on this whole cartoon animated theme, what about SpongeBob SquarePants, Squidward? Poor guy.
I don't think he's necessarily a villain, but he definitely is an antagonist.
Plankton's the fucking villain in that movie,
Yeah.
that show.
And all he wants is a successful restaurant.
Yeah, and he's got Mr. Krabs across the street just throwing it in his face every day. Literally holding money, laughing at him. I mean, come on now.
and Mr. Krabs, he built a theme park one time that is super risky.
You know what I think is actually kind of funny about that, though? Is what the Krabby Patty actually is.
What is it?
Crab.
Crab.
Because
It's
there
very
is
in the
You're
name.
a cannibal.
there is literally a scene, like he never ate his Krabby Patties. But there's a scene where he finally eats one. He's like, this is what I taste like.
Oh.
It's literally in the name too.
Cannibal.
Krabby Patty, so it's like in the name.
Yeah, thank you guys for informing me on that one.
But yeah,
Now that
if we
show
go-
should not be for little kids.
If we go back to Squidward's just an adult. That's all it is. He's an adult.
No, he's just a grumpy
He's
old
an
man.
adult that doesn't like SpongeBob because SpongeBob is
Yeah,
too much of an annoying young person.
he's a
I mean,
loud,
how
obnoxious
would you
neighbor.
guys feel if you have
Yeah.
a 3-year-old coming over your place and fucking all your shit up, you know, on a daily basis?
I'll
you know?
grab him and tell his parents.
I mean, SpongeBob having like a mindset of a 3-year-old, you know, and he's an adult. That would drive me
Yeah,
fucking insane.
I consider him more like a teenager. He may be an adult, but he acts like a teenager.
He's blowing bubbles. Do you see any teenager going outside and blowing bubbles?
Yeah, just watch TikTok.
True.
That's for views.
We'll keep on this animated thing and go to Wally. Who is the villain of Wally?
Autobot.
Otto, yes.
The autopilot wasn't really a bad guy. He was just told, you know, not to let the humans go back to Earth no matter what, you know.
yeah, he was just doing his programming.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really a bad guy, right?
No.
I mean, he didn't kill no one, so he's not a bad guy. But everyone like watching Wally was like, "Fuck Autobot," you know. It's like it's not bad.
Mm.
You guys are like living it up in space, you know, doing whatever the fuck you want. You can play tennis, but they're all too like fat to play tennis, aren't they?
Wait,
okay.
I think I got a person to talk about.
All right, who?
The people that are protecting the vaults in Borderlands.
Oh, Handsome Jack. He used to be actually a good guy for a while, but then Borderlands, you know, decided to switch him off to be the bad guy. But actually, he was not really the bad guy. He just wanted, you know, to get to the last vault.
They have a whole DLC for him, don't they?
Yeah, they made a whole entire prequel of Handsome Jack, actually.
Okay.
I think for him, he's just in competition with you for the same goal, I believe.
Yeah, so I would not even consider him a bad guy,
Yeah.
actually.
See?
So they made him a bad guy in the game, but he's not really the bad guy. If anyone that you should be saying the bad guy is, or those bandits that's constantly, you know, trying to run up to you with a stick of dynamite and blowing your ass up. I'm glad you pointed that one out because I actually looked into that earlier today. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Bad guys rule.
And heroes rule.
That's right.
All right, so I think we covered everything. I think we know where our positions on bad guys are.
I mean, it just depends. They can either be like neutral or they can be, you know.
I think there's certain ones.
It's like a scale. You can either be super bad or you can be like right here, you know, middle. If it wasn't for the villains, these heroes don't even have a job. They're probably living off of our tax money, but you know,
couldn't have
I
said
think
it
the
better
best
myself.
the best thing to summarize some of this, I think, is that most villains think that they're right in their own story.
I'm not going to speak for everybody here, but I think it's safe to say we all agree that bad guys rule and good guys drool.
Yeah.
Bump it.
I don't know if I fully agree, but I think certain bad guys are justified in what they did. At the very least, they have a reasoning for what they did.
I think we might have to do a part 2 on this, Nate.
Maybe we'll come up with some more. I'll catch us in the next episode. I'm CRollur,
no, Willy.
and here are our guests.
Noah.
Alex.
And I'm cool.
Bam.
Yeah, you are cool.
Thank you for watching.
I mean, if someone kicked me into like an acid bucket, I'd be, you know, fucking pissed off too, right?